Hello, Paragon Mills third graders. This is Miss U. Just wanted to say a couple things. First, I miss you guys a ton. We all miss you a bunch. We hope you're learning a lot. We hope you're doing a lot of stuff outside in your yards and enjoying the time that you guys have. We hope that we get to see you guys soon. But for now, let's do some math. We're going to start with our number talk. So today, we're going to be working on friendly numbers. The point of friendly numbers is just to help us make math easier. When you're older, you'll use it for multiplication. It just gives us a way to have different strategies when we're adding, when we're multiplying, when we're doing all these different things that can be kind of hard to remember. So we'll start with a really easy one. We'll start with something like 8 plus 2. Real quick, right off the top of your head, 8 plus 2, you should know, equals 10. When we're working on our friendly numbers, we're working on the easiest way that we can add, which sometimes means breaking apart the number. So that's what we're going to be practicing today. Okay, so we have 8 plus 2 equals 10. I'm going to leave this here to give us a little cheat sheet. I want us to practice with this one. What if we did 8 plus 5? Instead of thinking really hard about how to do 8 plus 5, let's use our friendly numbers. Let's try to see if we can use that strategy. So what I'm noticing is we said that 8 plus 2 equals 10. Let's take 2 out of the 5, which means we're going to have 3 over. We know 8 plus 2 equals 10. And then we have this 3 left over. So now we have 10 plus 3, which is 13. Look at how fast that was. All I had to do was break apart the 5 and say, well, I know that 5 is 2 plus 3. I know that 8 plus 2 is 10, and what's left over is the 3. So 10 plus 3 must mean 13, which means that 8 plus 5 is also 13. Now we're going to try a different one with our 8s. We are going to try 8 plus 7. Let's see what you guys can do with this. Pause it and then we'll get right back to it. All right, so what you guys should have seen is that we've got our 8 and we know 8 plus 2 equals 10. So 8 plus, we'll take 2 out of here, and if we take 2 out of the 7, 2 plus what equals 7? That's 5. So now we have 8 plus 2 equals 10. But we can't forget this leftover part. So 10 plus 5 equals 15. Let's just double check that. Let's do 8 plus 7. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We were correct. And it was so much faster by just breaking it apart and adding it this way. Now let's try with a different problem. We're going to stay with our 8s because that's the one that we've been practicing with, but maybe we'll switch it up and do 7s in a little bit. So let's try 8 plus, we'll do 8 plus 6. Pause it and try to figure this out. Okay, so we've got 8 plus 6. Well, we know 8 plus 2 equals 10, so let's take 2 away from the 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So now we have 8 plus 2, which is 10, plus our leftover 4. 10 plus 4 is 14. Whoa! Now let's try with our 7s. So we know, I'll erase this part for you guys. We know that 7 plus what equals 10? 7 plus 3. So if we know that 7 plus, oh, that's a wonky 0. If we know that 7 plus 3 equals 10, let's see if we can use the same strategy if we're adding by 7s. So let's do 7 plus, we'll do 7 plus 4 just to keep it easy for this first one. So if we have 7 plus 4, pause your video and try to practice what you think we should do. All right. So if we know that 7 plus 3 equals 10, we're going to say 7, break that into a 3. 4 minus 3 we know is 1. So 7 plus 3 is 10. And then we have to add our leftover, which is 1. 10 plus 1 is 11. Now let's see if that makes sense. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If you know your touch points, that'll help. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it matches that one. So we did it right. Great. I'm going to have you guys try one more on your own, and then we're going to move on to our lesson for today. This time I'm going to hide our 7 plus 3. Let's see how you guys do. We're going to do 7 plus 6. Pause your video. Try it out. Welcome back. So if you guys did this correct, you said, well, I know, because we've been practicing, 7 plus 3 is going to make a 10. And so if I do 6 minus 3, I'm going to have another 3 left over, because 3 plus 3 equals 6. We know 7 plus 3 is our 10, and what's left over? This little 3. 10 plus 3 equals 13. Let's see if that makes sense. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Does that match up with that one? It sure does. All right. Good job, guys. So practice this at home when you get bored. It's kind of a fun activity. Once you get really good, you can start getting into super high numbers, like something like we could do 77 plus 8. What? So we know that to get this to the next 10, oops, sorry, I accidentally paused it. But just really fast for this one, we know if we have 77 and we want to get to the next level, we have to add 3 to this. So we take 3 away from our 8. 8 minus 3 is going to be 5. 77 plus 3 is going to be 80. And then we have our 5 left over. You'll notice the better you get and the more you practice it, the quicker these ones are even going to be. Because 77 plus 8 is not an easy one. So if you can learn how to break it apart with our friendly numbers, you're going to get addition so much faster. All right, now we look at our lesson. So today we're going to be working on fractions. So last week you guys talked about measuring things with fractions. So you guys talked about, you know, the worm, the caterpillar, all those different bugs that you can find outside and measuring them with a ruler. This time we're going to use this. Doesn't look pretty, that's okay. And we're going to talk about different fractions. So the first one is going to be just the easiest one that we all know pretty well. It's the 1/2. So if our 1/2 looks like, I'll write upside down. If our 1/2 looks like this, the denominator is going to tell us how many equal parts we need to break our bar graph into. So if we have 2 equal parts that we need to break it up into, we need to make sure that we're about right in the middle. So if I'm over here and over here, this is probably close enough to the middle. See how they're about the same size? I'm not perfect, so I can't do it perfectly, but if you guys had a ruler, you could do it a lot better. If we're looking at 1/2, the bottom is how many equal parts we fill in, or we make, and then the top is how many we fill in. So we're going to fill in 1/2. So 1 out of the 2 pieces of our bar graph. The next one is going to be 1/3. So this one tells us we're going to break our bar graph into 3 equal parts. So this one's a little bit trickier. We have to think about where our thirds are going to be. So we've got about the same in every little area. And if we have 1/3, that means we're going to color in 1 piece of our bar graph. So we have 1 out of 1, 2, 3 total. The next one is 1/4. So we're going to, well, I know that 1/4, we're going to divide it into 4 equal parts. So this is the way that I do it. I like to go the middle first because I know it can be divided by 2, and then break those into halves. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Good. And our numerator is 1, so we're going to fill in one of those parts. I'm wondering if you guys notice something that's kind of funky about this. Even though our number is getting bigger on the bottom, on our denominator, the amount that's getting filled in is smaller because it's just one part of even more little pieces. Huh, something to think about. Let's try the next one, which is going to be 1/6. So 1/6 looks like this. Bet you can guess how many parts we're going to fill this into, or we're going to break this into. 6. So I'm going to look at my third because I know that that's divisible. And then I'm going to just break these into halves. Let's make that a little bit more. It's about the same size. So now we're going to break that into halves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you're really doing fractions, you're going to make sure that they're perfect. This is about as close as I can get because I'm not perfect. And I'm going to fill in 1 out of 6 of those. Again, we're getting smaller and smaller pieces with our numerator of 1. And last but not least, we'll do 1/8. That's an 8. We'll go this, then we'll break that into halves because of fourths, and then we'll break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty close to being just about as equal as they can get. And we're going to fill in 1. So now we have 1 out of 8. So let's check. So 1 is filled in, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So these are some of the fractions that you guys are going to be working a lot with, especially when it comes into 4th grade. Just a little fun fact. All right. Now we're going to show fractions, but with different shapes. They're not always going to be this nice and on a bar graph. Sometimes you're going to use different shapes. So a circle, say we wanted to do 1/4. Remember, when we're breaking them apart, they have to be equal parts. So every single part has to have the same amount in it. So if I'm doing 1/4, I cannot say 1, 2, 3, 4. Because look, this part is not the same size as this part. So we have to figure out ways that we can make sure that they are equal. One thing I know is that I can make the circle in half. And then this way, I can make the circle in half again. Think of like a pie or a pizza. You have to break it apart so that they're even. Even this one's not that even, but I'm doing the best I can. Better. Okay, so if I have 1/4, I'm going to fill in one of these fourths, and that is equal parts. So 1/4 of our, we could say pizza, looks like that. We can also do it with a square. A square is a pretty easy one. Say we wanted to do 1/4 of a square. Or you know what, let's make it more fun. Let's do 1/3 of the square. No, let's do 1/6 of the square. Make it extra fun. So I'm going to do one line down the middle because I know that I can at least do that. And then I'm going to do these lines. So let's check. They all look just about equal. And do we have 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So 1/6, we're going to fill in one of these parts. Awesome. Last one is our rectangle. That's going to be the one that are like these ones. So that's going to actually push us into what we want you guys to do this week. Today, you guys are going to draw a square. And we're going to talk about cake. So quickly, draw a nice big square on your paper. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're doing this on our own. The next, we're going to divide it into 8ths. So remember, that means that we're going to need to have 8 equal parts. One thing that we can do, let's break it like this. We've got now 2 parts. Let's do 1, Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. And let's do one right down the middle of, oh, that was not a 4th. Straight. Okay. We're going to do like this. You know, close enough. So now let's look. Do we have about 4 or 8 equal parts? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So today on your cake, we are going to talk about the decorations we're going to add. So there's a lot of different decorations that we came up with, and maybe you'll come up with your own. You can add sprinkles, you can add chocolate chips, you can add whipped cream, you can add fruit, candles, frosting, nuts, coconut flakes. You get to decide how much you're going to put on your cake. Maybe it's your birthday cake, so maybe you'll have, a candle in each one. And then you're going to let us know, and you're going to fill out how much of each decoration is represented on your cake. So say I like my toasted coconut over here and down here. I'm going to say 2/8 because I have 2 out of the full 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that have coconuts. So I'm going to write 2/8 coconut because I love coconut flakes. And then maybe on this one too, I'm going to add little chocolate chips. And then I'm going to add chocolate chips on this one and on this one. So now I have 1, 2, 3 out of our total 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3/8 with chocolate chips. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to fill out your cake. You're going to decide what you want on it. Maybe you want it on all of them. Maybe you want it on none of them. But fill it out and let's talk about what you guys have decided. Talk to your families about it. Maybe you guys can each come up with your own cake and see if you guys came up with similar ideas. And then that is all I've got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys are having a great time. Enjoy your cake, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.